Greetings, my name is Ma'ataba, and I am the founder and facilitator of Relationship First Aid, which is a spiritual-based personal development program. I have facilitated Relationship First Aid for different private groups, organizations, and through my prison ministry, which is that's my heart. I love my prison ministry. I have been blessed to witness the transformation of people through their testimonies of what they've experienced through using the tools that they learned through Relationship First Aid. And so I felt that it was time to start to share this information with a wider audience. So I'm going to be doing a series of videos talking about different subject matter, not necessarily anything in particular, because when it comes to relationships, we have to realize that everything is a relationship. A relationship is how you relate to something or someone else. So you have a relationship with yourself, with other people, your significant other, with your children, with your body, with money, with nature, with your pets, with your coworkers, with your neighbors, with the food that you eat, with God. So everything that you do in your daily interactions is a relationship, and it's how you relate to it or not. So the different information that I'm going to share hopefully will assist you in developing better, greater, more peaceful and harmonious relationships with other people, but especially yourself. Because when you are happy and peaceful within, then you are happy and peaceful without. That's spiritual law. And some of the things that I share with you are about spiritual laws, which is probably one of the most important things that you can learn, and the information that has been hidden from the masses and kept amongst those who are in the positions of power. They know this information. They use it on a regular basis, not for the greater good of all of humanity, but nonetheless, the laws are respective to no one. Everyone uses the laws, whether you are conscious of it or not. You don't have to be aware of gravity, but you abide by the laws of gravity every day. So the spiritual laws are the same thing. But now that the information has become more widely known and readily available, people are learning more about spiritual laws, and especially the most, I think, popular one is the law of attraction. But there are many spiritual laws, and that is just one. But I'm glad to see the awareness of even that coming out. So I invite you to continue to watch the videos that I post. You can check out my page on Facebook, and it is Relationship First Aid. And I ask that you subscribe to it, to like the page. And if the information that I share on these videos is helpful to you, or you think it would be helpful to someone else, please share it with them. Because, you know, we touch and heal one heart at a time. Also, you can view the videos on YouTube, and there will be other resources that will be placed on the links that you will find embedded in the video or below. If you have any comments or questions, please either inbox me or put them in the comments section, depending on where you're viewing the video at. If you have any questions that you'd like for me to address, I'll do the best that I can with my knowledge base. If it's something that's beyond my knowledge base, then I will, let you know that and suggest that you maybe I might know some other resources that you might be able to look into, so that you will be able to get the answers that you need in life. So today I thought it would be interesting to speak on something that I was led to speak on today. And that is, we've heard the old saying, what is done in the dark will come to the light. That might mean many things to many people. But the way that I interpret it is from a more spiritual-based perspective. And those that might be familiar have heard the term that we are going into the Age of Aquarius, which is the age of truth and light, which means all things are coming to the light. all truth is being revealed. And you can see that every day in the news, on different forms of media, in the newspapers, where you see the information about political figures, religious figures, politicians, the people in the entertainment world. You're seeing more and more of things coming out, and it is being revealed to them about their behaviors. You're seeing these priests and the way that they are molesting, abusing these children en masse, and have been doing it for decades or even centuries. You see the politicians and what they've been doing in their political arena, taking advantage of their positions, and a lot of immoral things that are going on, even in the sports industry, in the entertainment industry. You're seeing this stuff coming out every day. Like every day it's coming out, and you're seeing more and more information and more truth that some of it is kind of mind-boggling, but it is what it is. The truth is coming out, and this is the day and time for it to happen. And as we get further along into this energy, into this age of Aquarius, which we really are just kind of entering into, you will find more and more truth coming out. You'll find more historical based information coming out, more truth, information about history that have been distorted and just outright lies. All of that is coming to the surface. So it's a good thing, and for some people it's a bad thing. Now, what I really wanted to focus on was, just as when I speak about what's done in the dark, that also represents the skeletons in your closet emotionally. You will notice, I notice in my daily, activity, just when you drive up and down the street, when you go to stores or anything like that, you will start to see people's behavior. People are becoming more negative, more angry, more fearful. They're doing things to harm themselves, doing things to harm others. And what I believe is that because we are going into the age of truth and light, we are also energy beings. And everything emits a frequency or a vibration, because we are energy beings. Everything is energy. It's just different frequencies, different levels of frequency. So, for instance, the more solid a thing is, so for instance, a table or a chair or something that you can actually touch and move and see, the more solid it is, the more dense or lower in vibration or frequency that thing is. The higher in vibration or frequency that thing is, the less visible that it becomes. So for those that have the ability to see things in the spirit realm that most people can't see, those things are of extremely high frequency, which is why you cannot see it with the physical eye. You can feel it. Some people can feel it. Some people can see it. And some people cannot. However, that does not mean that thing is not there. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. There are also different dimensions, which science has proven that there are different dimensions. And those dimensions are on different frequencies as well, that are existing at the same, they're pre-existing at the same time of the dimension that we are in. Some people say there's a third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and so on. Now, how high those dimensions go, I don't know. But that previously we had been living in the third dimension. Now, that's of a lower frequency. So when you elevate to the fourth dimension, then that's of a higher frequency, and you start being exposed to things on that frequency that you weren't exposed to before on a lower frequency. And it's kind of like when you are at a certain place in your life, you magnetize to you different people of that frequency. So I use example, people who do drugs gravitate to people who do drugs. People that drink gravitate to people that drink. People that like to read books gravitate to people that like to read books. People that like to do sports gravitate to people that like to do sports. So, and so on and so forth. So your consciousness emits a certain frequency. And so you magnetize people of that like frequency to you. People that are wealthy magnetize people that are wealthy. People that are wealthy do not hang around and do not magnetize people who are of a poor mentality. People who are of a poor mentality do not magnetize nor hang around people that are wealthy. That is two complete polar opposite frequencies. They cannot even exist very long in the same space, if at all, because their frequencies are so polar opposite that they will never probably even come in contact with each other. And that's just the way that's just the way that it works. And so when you decide that you want to start to change your life, you want to start healing some of the challenges that you've had, you want to start to grow, educate yourself, become and grow spiritually and elevate spiritually, then you will find out that you're going to start to magnetize different people to you. You're going to have a whole different a group of friends. And so when that happens, don't be afraid to let go of the people who have been in your world, because use it as a sign that you are changing, your frequency is changing. And so the people that you were around, they could have been, and they could be anybody now. They could be your best friend. It could be relatives, co-workers, neighbors. And when you start to change, grow, and elevate, you'll notice these people falling off. Now, typically what happens is that these people first become angry with you. They'll start to say things like you're acting funny, or you think you're better than I am, or they'll start to put you down, or not start to be around or hang around you very, like they used to. And that's good. That's fine. It's hurtful in the beginning, but when you realize that you are being moved to a different space, you are elevating, your frequency is magnetizing, your frequency is elevating and magnetizing a different set of people, then you'll see these people leaving your life as a sign that your world is changing. So view that as a good thing and let them go in love. You will bring more people into your life. That's a spiritual law too. There are no empty spaces. Something will always fill up a space. Just like when you throw a rock, or you take a big rock and throw it in a body of water, first thing you're going to notice is this space of air behind it. And then eventually, very shortly thereafter, water will fill in that empty space. It's like the law of vacuum, I believe. So the same thing works as far as this is concerned. You will magnetize different people to you of the frequency that you are in at that time. So that's why it's always a good thing to be conscious and aware of your environment. Now also, that might mean that you might move from where you are. You might have to leave the dwelling that you live in. You might have to leave the job that you're in. Because remember, everything is frequency. And so when you find yourself at a certain position or at a certain job, you are of the same frequency and consciousness of the collective, of the group that you're in. The place that you live at, it itself emits a certain frequency. And so if you are no longer matching the frequency of the home that you live in or the area that you live in, then things will start to happen in your life and you will have to move. You'll be presented with an opportunity to move. Something might happen and you might be forced to move. These different types of things can start to happen. So don't view it as a bad thing. Just view it as an opportunity, a new opportunity. So view everything as an opportunity to grow and change. So you can perceive it however you want to, but these are some of the things that could possibly happen when your life starts to change. And it's okay. It really is okay. You're being taken to another place. You're being taken to a better place, a higher place. Now, as I was saying before, as it relates to your inner demons coming out, if you will. As I said, what's done in the dark comes to the light. So what's done in the dark will represent as well the things that you've been holding within, the anger, the resentment, the fear, the guilt, the hatred, and all of those energies. Those will bring themselves to the forefront as well. All of that energy is going to start to come out, because as you are changing in frequency, so is everything else. The planet itself has a specific level of frequency, and it is changing. Everything is changing, and everything is constantly elevating and evolving. And we want to elevate and evolve with it. And I like to use the example of a treadmill. So you're on a treadmill and you have it turned on low. Okay, so you're walking at a real nice slow pace, and then the treadmill goes up to the next number, which maybe would be number 2. And so things are going to start to speed up a little bit. And then you go to number 3. It starts to speed up a little bit more. Then you go to number 4. And then maybe you go to number 5. And now you're walking at a real fast pace. And then as the numbers increase continue to increase, then you have to increase your speed. And eventually it will become where you have to do maybe a jog and then a full out run. Now, eventually, if that number gets high enough, if you can't keep up with it, you're going to fall off that treadmill. You're going to fly backwards, or however you get off of it, you're going to get off of that treadmill. And that's the way things work. It's not personal. The treadmill is not personal to who's on it. Either you can keep up with the pace or you can't. Either you're on the same frequency or you're not. So as things elevate in frequency, remember our emotions have a specific frequency to them as well. And what will happen is, as the frequency around us all, as I said, the planet is increasing in frequency as well. So as the frequency around us increases, we should strive to increase with it as well by raising our consciousness. And we also can do that by letting go of some of our emotions, addressing our negative emotions, which are holding us back. They're keeping us unhappy. They're keeping us fearful. And everybody wants to be happy in life. But as long as you're carrying around those balls and chains, you're prolonging the ability to be as happy as you could possibly be. Now, some people are carrying some really, really, really deep things. I've heard some stories from some people, and they have gone through some very, very traumatic things in life. And when you have experienced trauma to the degree that some people have in life, it's not necessarily easy to deal with it and face it. But when you have the tools, it makes it easier. So, negative emotions are the thing that are mainly holding us back, as I said, from the happiness and freedom that we all want in our life. The negative emotions are the dark. So what's in the dark is coming to the light. Those emotions now are bubbling to the surface in people, and some people can't handle it. And so what they do is they self-medicate by, smoking things, by pills, by alcohol. Some people are becoming very aggressive, and they're being physically abusive. Some people are abusive to themselves, cutting, or they will do things that are harmful to them, or put themselves in situations that are harmful, like, say, for instance, prostitution or abusive relationships or something like that, rather than deal with the situation. Some people don't know how, as I said, and some people might not have the ability to deal with the situation. But nonetheless, these emotions are coming to the surface. And that's just, at the end of the day, that's what's going on. These emotions are coming to the surface. And so as people have an opportunity to deal with these emotions, and one of the easiest ways is to talk about it with someone, which is why when you look at different shows on TV now, you have people who are talking about the things that happen to them, the sexual violations that they experience, the physical abuse that they experience, and different other sorts of trauma. You'll see them speaking about it on these shows, and once they do, they have this sense of a weight that's been lifted off of their shoulders. Once that dark is brought to the light, they're not carrying that ball and chain with them anymore. And so that is what I would encourage everyone to do, is to start to be open to the opportunity to let your stuff go. There are people that you can speak to. You can write or journal to get that energy out of the body. Because as I said, that energy is frequency. And that frequency is holding you down, is holding you back, it's making you heavy. It's making people sick. So you can journal, you can find a support group, you can call and speak to someone, someone who has a degree of wisdom or knowledge base to be able to give you sound advice. As I said, there's a lot of support groups out there now. There's many things that you can find online. There's online groups that you can take part in. So with the beauty of technology now, you can just punch in whatever it is that you happen to be dealing with, and there's any number of things that will come up to give you opportunities to assist you in resolving some of the challenges, emotional challenges that you have. Now, the other thing, as I spoke about physically, is that when people hold on to these emotions and they do not deal with it, they just stuff it and stuff it and stuff it. And eventually they forget about it, but it does not go anywhere. It is going to come out at some point in time. It's just how that energy is going to manifest itself to, I don't want to say force you to deal with it, but to put it in your face now. Some people aren't aware that that's what's going on either. I work in the holistic nutrition field as well, and so I see this every day with people that come in that have different types of health issues and diseases, and they don't realize that it is a spiritual based thing first. All illness and disease is a spiritual issue that has not been resolved. And it's kind of hard for people to believe that, but I see it every day. I see hundreds of people a week. I see thousands of people a month. And this is consistent. A really, really, really good resource that I use is Louise Hay. She has a book called, I believe, You Can Heal Your Life. I believe that's the name of it. And in the back of the book, there's a list of illnesses and diseases that are associated with the emotional state or consciousness that you're in at the time. And I believe you can do a general search called Emotional Sources of Disease - Louise Hay. Try and punch that in, but I believe that is the correct information. And it will tell you the different types of health challenges that a person has and what it is, the spiritual and emotional reason behind it. Now, coupled with that is to remember that the left side of the body represents the feminine energy. The right side of the body represents the masculine energy. So let's say, for instance, I'll use example of eyes. Let's say a person injured their right eye some type of way. Could be a sty. They could have got hit in it. Could be an infection. Now, the right side of the body represents the masculine energy. So this person is consciously, there's something going on with a male in their life. If it is a man that has an eye challenge, then it is either a male in your life, or since you are a male, it could be you. Something that you are not dealing with. Something, now the eye represents sight. So for instance, because it represents sight, it's something that you don't want to see, or something that you're looking at, or something you feel people are not looking at or don't see in you. Or it could be a male, another male. It could be, let's say for instance, it could be your son, and your son is not seeing what you want him to see, or something dealing with sight and seeing. Or it could be your father. Your father doesn't see you. He doesn't recognize you. He doesn't acknowledge you. It could be yourself. You refusing to see yourself. So that's just an example of how this goes. Now, say for instance, it could be the throat. And a throat issue could show up like some type of throat infection, strep throat, swelling in the throat, constantly clearing the throat. So throat issues represent communication or lack of communication, not speaking your truth, feeling like you're not able to speak it, or that people are not listening to you. So communication. So you see the parallel between the human body and some of the issues and challenges that the human body has, and the spiritual issue associated with it. So the body is an indication of the dark trying to come to the light. Now, as I said, this is a process. Sometimes it's not really necessarily easy to get, and for sure in a lot of cases it's not easy to acknowledge that these issues that we have, that we all have, that we want to deal with them. They can be extremely painful, and because they're extremely painful, people do not typically want to deal with it. But I'm here to share with you, it's going to come to the surface. So, as I said, find the different resources that will be able to allow you to bring this pain to the surface, where you can speak about it, where you can resolve it, where you can bring peace to it, and you can let it go and release that energy and become lighter. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope I explained it well enough. If not, as I said, leave some comments or questions, and I will be glad to bring clarity to it, because I'm sure I didn't probably address some more things. But I just want to do a real quick video about it, and I would encourage you to know that everything that happens in your life is for a divine reason. I know it doesn't feel like it at the time. It does not. The things that I've gone through in my life, as I look back, and as they say, those who really are honest and speaking through wisdom, I wouldn't change a thing. I would not change a thing. And I've been through some very, very painful things in my life. But those things brought me to where I am right now. So why would I change it? If I changed it, I'd be someone different. And I'm pleased with where I am. I would be a different person. And so everything being in divine order, and it took me a long time to believe this. It took me a long time to acknowledge it, because when I first heard it, to me it was like, that's the craziest thing in the world. Everything is in divine order. Why am I going through this? This doesn't even make sense. How could something like this, how could something as painful as what I've been through be in divine order? Makes absolutely no sense to me. But as a result of some of the challenges that I've had, or some of the lessons I should say, I have assisted people through two people. I assisted two people to not commit suicide. I stopped one person from murdering someone else. I have helped people with severe depression. I've assisted people with parenting issues. I've assisted people with relationship issues. I've assisted people with spiritual-based issues because of what I've gone through. So had I not gone through those things, then I would not have been able to help these people. So everything happens for a reason. And as you continue to grow, and as you continue to learn, as you continue to elevate, and when you acknowledge that you're being sculpted every day and every experience into something beautiful, and one day you'll find out, you'll see what you are being sculpted into, and you'll be grateful for what you went through, because we go through things not only for lessons for ourselves, but we go through things to assist humanity. We go through things to assist other people in what they're going through. Because had I not gone through some of the things that I've gone through, I wouldn't have been able to help all of the people that I've helped throughout my life. And there has been many people that I've helped. And I'm so grateful for it. I wouldn't change a thing. So as I said, I would encourage you to take life as an opportunity, because it's an opportunity to grow. It's a journey. It's a journey to be experienced every day. Eventually you'll look at it to the point where no matter what the challenge is, you will be grateful for the challenge, and you'll see it as something that is increasing your knowledge base and your wisdom, and for the people that you're going to help one day. And I'm sure you've helped people already, but one day you're going to touch someone's life, and then you'll see why you went through what you went through. If you're listening to this video, then that means you were strong enough to handle the challenge and come out on the other side, or you're strong enough to deal with it, which is why you're listening to this in the first place. So as I said, frequency, you were drawn to listen to this information, which means it's time for you to bring these things to the surface, acknowledge what's going on in your life, find a way for you to deal with it in a healthy way, and come on the other side and leave that darkness and come into the light and become the happy, peaceful, divine being that you are. So with that, I'm going to cut this video off, and once again, I'm going to ask that you check me out on Relationship First Aid on Facebook. Like the page. If you have any questions, inbox me or put it in the comment section. If you're looking at it on YouTube or whatever medium that you might see it on, leave a comment or subscribe. And as I said, if it's been a blessing to you and you think it'll be a blessing to someone else, please share this information to them. So I want to thank you for watching. Also, I have written a series of books, a series of memoirs, and the series is called Messages from the Goddess, Memoirs on Life's Lessons. And the first memoir is called Alcohol or Spit, Which Would You Like? All of my memoirs have very different names to them, but they all are based in personal experiences that I had. And Alcohol and Spit is about telling the truth. It's about telling the truth to yourself and to others. When I launch that book, which will be very soon, probably in May, if you're interested, as I said, inbox me. I will put the information out there about pre-sales very soon. It is a workbook. It also has spiritual laws in there, and it shows you, gives you an example of how to apply the spiritual laws to the different scenarios that you have in life. So I'm looking forward to it, and I know that you will enjoy it. So thank you again. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me. And I will see you soon. I'm going to post as many videos as regularly as possible. And I look forward to bringing you into my world and my spiritual family. Well, we're already in the same spiritual family. I take that back. But much love and light to you and peace. And please bring your darkness to the light. Have a good one.